Good morning. What a lovely Thursday. It's a great weather today. So I have been observing some of the people's behavior are extremely selfish. I will post the videos in Mandarin version sooner. So let people sharing and take a look inside what's going on when I pick up the kids in front of the school. So people used to park the car on both sides of the street along the sidewalk. But sadly, a guy just pulled in front of me and almost bumper to bumper, and he parked there and then he stepped out of his vehicle and checked his mailbox. And guess what? He blocked in the entrance of the parking lot in front of the school. So how dare you think you can do this, prevent other people to going through the parkade? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely selfish. So people from the Western country, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them are strange behavior and pretty much selfish and doing whatever they want to satisfy themselves. They don't care about others, and they don't even think about what if I'm doing this to make other people inconvenience. I still have a fresh memory when I used to be a bus driver, the transit operator, when a whole bunch of high schoolers just got on board. They just stand right behind me. And guess what? The rest of the stop, people have a hard time to go through the aisle or going through the bus because of these idiot, the stupidities of this high schooler. So they made up the story. They tried to not paying the transit fare, and they find any excuse in their power to not paying the ticket or monthly pass. So I ordered them. I almost screaming in front of them. I said, could you please move a little bit further back and let other people going through the aisle? I'm not going to move an inch of my bus. I refuse to drive the bus furthermore. So they moved. See how people behave in the Western world compare what they call the law and orders, or they show hypocrisy. They carry the selfishness all the time. The other thing I want to share with you is I talked to my neighbor a couple weeks ago. He finally decided to put his house into the market because he cannot afford all the expenses, tax, property tax, maintenance costs, all the costs associated with his house. And he finally gave up. He's in his probably 70s. He told me this. He's in his 70s. He well above the retirement. He already retired. He lives with his wife. His son make a pretty good money from up north of Alberta, the oil field, the oil patch in Fort McMurray. And he told me everything cost him a lot. He used to save more than 10,000 Canadian dollars in his pocket or in his saving account from his bank. And now he said he spent all of that within the last 6 years. he said, I just gave up. But I'm gonna downsizing my living conditions. And he would love to still keep an eye on my community, and he'll find some kind of a decency of the living standard, decent house or decent townhouse probably, or he probably will rent. And all of a sudden, when I opened the realtor.ca, I saw in my community, especially in the pretty much the low density area, and the house more fancy and surrounding the lake. And I saw all of a sudden there are at least 9 different single houses put on the market, somewhere between 600,000 to 150,000 Canadian dollars. 1 million, more than $1 million. So it's quite expensive. I don't know who's going to pay for it, who's going to afford it. But the thing is, people selling their house put on the market for their reason. There's a reason, legit reason behind this, because I bet people cannot afford it anymore. And people could find somewhere else to live, to downsizing their living standard. They find a downsizing townhome or probably apartment or condominium. That's their plan. Because the government put more tax and after a tax, and they only targeting the middle class, not the rich. They only put the tax on the middle class and on the poor. So the people getting richer and richer, the poor people getting poor. So that's the fact. And every time I went to Costco or Superstore, I chat with the cashier when I check out. And I asked them, and I also share my opinion. I talked to them. Every time I went to there, I bought the groceries, I thought I'm buying some luxury goods. Yes, you hear right. It's a luxury goods. No kidding. If I'm gonna buy some beef or chicken or even some ground pork, plus some veggies, salad, bread, breakfast, supplement, even some kind of, fruit juice, orange juice, apple juice. So it's like easily reaches 400 and 500 bucks. Isn't it ridiculous? Isn't it insane? So this is reality. I have been thinking about people cannot all of a sudden put their houses at the same time. I know it's a selling season because it's a summer. It's almost a summer. Summer is around the corner. But the problem is people decided, again, for their own reason, and they cannot afford it. A lot of people are struggling. They don't have a steady income. They don't have even the passive income. And you know what? The local people only think about the passive income because they really do have the second home, secondary home, multiple homes, multiple properties to rent out. But once the government put the capital gain tax, yes, and it'll just systematically and categorically to reduce your income, your profit will be significantly reduced. I don't know people how to survive in this country. So people here, I'm talking about those who immigrants here. So people move here for a reason, whether for the weather, for the education, for the healthcare, for the welfare, social welfare, for the culture, for the language, for the kindness of Canadian, for the food, for the whatever you can think of. But now I can barely put up one reason to hold me back to stay here for more than 6 months. It's really hard for myself. Well, a lot of people say, or you can see some mainstream media say, well, fix your mental health problems. How do we prevent the mental health problem? Stop saying this. It's just because the entire environment, you can feel literally depressed. Not only the weather, people, the culture, the way people react. I don't feel people polite anymore. I don't feel people react as kindness. I don't feel it at all. So when you walk around in the park, so people just coming towards you and people just looking somewhere else. They don't say hi. They don't say good morning. They say nothing. So I don't see people could make a big chunk of money in order to survive in this current society. It's really hard. It is really hard. People struggling to make the end of the meat. And yet, the longer you live here, the more you realize people carry more homophobic, racism, stereotype. It's real. It's absolutely real. So the more I feel struggle, the more I carry the hostage status with the people of color. You can feel that from the air. You can feel that. I feel sorry for those who moved to Canada from the last 2 years. People think about move to the new country and they could start up the new life. They don't mind to start from the scratch, even though they already built a significant of the professional field. And they already have a lot of resources from back home. And they gave up everything and they moved here. Guess what? One thing I want to tell you is worthless. It's absolutely worthless now. So you said you've prepared everything psychologically, mentally, and physically. But once you permanently settle down here, demonstrate the real Canadian life. People here are cold, are unpolite, so people carry hostile attitude. So it's the reality. It's just reality. Once you put your head into this country, the longer you live, the more you realize it's really hard to find a job. So even though before the COVID, everybody already feel it's extremely hard to find a job. You don't want to work like the cheap labor job. People call the so-called the lower class job. So you don't want to work as cheap labor as for your rest of your life, because so you are well educated, you are such professional expert, you can do very high standard living for your own or your family, and you came here, you bring them here for your kids' generation, for your better life. What a joke. Don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. And do not and stop brainwash yourself. Stop brainwash yourself. So people just deliberately and pretend it is wonderful life. It is the land of opportunity. But it is not. It is simply not. You need to face so many homophobic racism on a daily basis. The way they look at you, the way they react, the way they behave, it's already demonstrated everything. What the heck is this? the fucking school bus, right? Yes, every country has their own problems. So back home has their own problems. But it is your motherland. You do have all the resources in your power to provide decency to yourself and your family. So here is nothing. Here absolutely nothing. When you're in your middle age, you move here and you start from the scratch, guess what? You just punish yourself. And you do your own research, and you'll realize it's such harmful way to survive nowadays, especially the post-COVID period. The fucking goddamn school bus. Speaking to the school bus, it brings back my memory of the transit operator. I have the privilege to speak out about what the traffic condition look like in Calgary. So the way people driving, I can say, or I would say, and I could say, 80% of the people don't know how to drive. They don't even know how to obey the law and where they should stop and where they should follow the speed limit, where is the playground and where is the school zone. People have absolutely no idea. How many times I should say, excuse my language, I should say most of the women drivers are looking down their cell phone or swiping their cell phones and texting the message while they were driving. So you not only put yourself in danger, and you bring the endangerment to the kids, to the family, to the parents, to the elderly. What a selfish. I'm not here to bring the negativities so I'm just telling the truth. So Canada is not what it used to be and what it once was. So it's gone. Everything is gone. People leave the comment on the social media I saw, well, I will stand up for my country. I will fight for my country. I will do whatever necessary to fight the freedom or whatever they want to call. But don't you think it's a joke? So it's unreversible. It's absolutely unreversible. And I found a status data from the website. From the last 15 years, the average income of Canadian has been significantly declined, especially from the last 4 years, the pandemic. So the income reduced and the tax go up. And even though there are upcoming tax from government upon whatever the regulations or tax they put it in, so people's money just took away from the government. So think about this more, and don't fool yourself. I finally find the spring is really around the corner. I can see the greenness. Finally.